Hello, good evening everyone. Sorry, I'm running a minute or so behind. I am so excited. I'm going to be interviewing and chatting with Amber Pierson. And, okay, as soon as she hops on, I'm going to add her to the screen. We are going to be talking about raising a special needs child. She has lots of experience with this, and I think that this is an important topic, so I'm really excited to share it. So I'm going to wait for her to come to the screen. Maybe. I think it's adding her. Connect. Possibly.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, you're there. Hi, Amber. Okay,
Hello.
somebody who is on, we've got Jenny, Kara, Jen, bunch of people on. Can somebody please tell us if you can see and hear both of us? If you want to go ahead and say something, Amber, to make sure that they can hear you okay? Because it sounded a little fuzzy when you first came on. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, and then hopefully someone will let us know if they can hear us. Oh, sorry, that was my dryer dinging. Okay, so she's like frozen on my end. Okay, so everything you just said was like broken up, and then now I can hear you.
Can you hear me better now?
They're saying they can hear us, but it was really broken up for me. I can hear you now. Everyone says yes.
I guess
we can. Okay, so hopefully that was just a weird second. So I didn't hear anything. She did go out for a second, and it's glitchy, but I can hear her when she's talking.
So I was outside. I was really hoping to sit outside, but maybe I need to be inside.
Yeah, maybe. Sorry. Okay, so if you want to introduce yourself again, because we didn't hear any of it, and we'll start over.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry about that. So I am Amber Pierson. I live in the Columbus area, and I'm a mom to an 18-month-old son and wife to my husband, Danny, and I have one fur baby and used to be a teacher, but now am an entrepreneur.
Awesome. So I have known Amber for like ever, since like junior high. We used to cheer together.
Yes.
So I am really excited to talk to you. And I think that you have what you have to talk about. A lot of people can really find a lot of value in, even if they don't have a special needs child. It's really important for you to raise your typical children to be aware of special needs children too. So, okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I know a little bit about the backstory, but people watching probably don't. So first off, I'll tell you, if anybody has questions for you, I'll relay them to you because you can't see any comments. Inside is better is what we're getting. So we'll just, if you'll stay there. So what is this? You kind of give us a little bit of the story of what happened with Kai, when you were finding out when you were pregnant, and then through the delivery and, up until now, kind of just what's going on with him.
Absolutely. So I'll give you Spark Notes version. How about that?
Right.
I had a fairly normal pregnancy. Getting pregnant was fairly easy for my husband and I, which I know is a blessing in itself. And at 36 weeks pregnant, I had told my gynecologist, I think something's wrong. My son's not like moving around as much as I think he's supposed to be. So we did an ultrasound, and they found a significant amount of fluid in his head. So that's what's termed hydrocephalus. So the layman's term for hydrocephalus is fluid or water on the brain. So it's your spinal fluid that builds up within a child's brain or an adult's brain. It could be anybody that has hydrocephalus. So once we found that out, I was scheduled for a C-section 3 days later. And so technically he was not preemie because he came at 37 weeks, but definitely was early. From there, he was transported immediately to Children's, and he underwent a surgery placing something called a shunt. It's in the back right side of his head, and so that drains all of the fluid that was built up in his head out, and it is a permanent device that remains in there for the rest of his life. Hydrocephalus itself is something that can be, I guess, it can happen in utero like it did for us, but then it could happen to anybody who experiences a traumatic brain situation or has maybe in a car accident, or an elderly person could get a cyst or something that would cause a blockage, and that could cause a fluid buildup, and that could cause hydrocephalus too.
Okay.
So
that's what hydrocephalus is. What does that mean for Kai? Like, what does his daily life look like?
Very different, but then again, it's different for every child, right?
Yeah, sure.
So for Kai's situation, hydrocephalus caused a lot of complications. Not only did, along with hydrocephalus, he have brain malformations. So his brain is just like not shaped like your typical normal brain would be. He also has something called dysgenesis of the corpus callosum. I'm a nurse now, if you didn't know.
Right.
And so that just means the tissue that connects right and left side of the brain is missing significant amounts of it. He also has epilepsy due to his brain malformation, and his optic nerve did not form properly because of the hydrocephalus, so he is legally blind. So all of that in a nutshell means daily life for Kai is challenging. He's a year and a half old, and he cognitively, for the most part, is there and wants to be independent like any 18-month-old child. But his physical abilities have not been able to catch up to that. So it's a lot of daily struggles just because he just learned to sit, but he's not able to walk yet or even stand for that matter. He's just trying to discover how to learn and grow without being able to see things visually. And obviously 90% of what we learn is through what we watch and we visualize. So everything for Kai is just coming significantly slower.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for sharing. I appreciate you.
Of course.
Okay. So that's kind of like you said, SparkNote's version of what's going on. And obviously, titling something special needs or someone special needs is a huge, wide range of things that could be covered. But I just wanted you guys to hear her specific story. So do you feel, because, Kai is developmentally behind, and I'm sure other people with children that are not, even like typical children, we tend to compare. So do you feel like it's hard not to compare to his, his age milestone to where he should be and seeing other kids and things like that?
Absolutely. And I think that, like you said, we all do it regardless of a child being special needs or not. And you go to those doctor's appointments and it's like, oh, by 15 months, your child should be doing X, Y, Z. And they show you a little video. And I kind of just sit there and laugh at it because I'm like, that's not even going to happen anytime soon for my child. But I don't really feel like that puts him behind the curve per se. Like Kai's just going to learn at his own pace. But it's definitely very hard not to compare. I actually wrote a blog post on this, and I think that's just the hardest part about, one, being a parent in general, and two, especially being a parent of a child with special needs. There's this poem, and I think her name is Emily Pearl Kingsley. I don't know, but I can share it in this post or link in the comments here. But it literally just kind of talks about how if you're planning a trip to Paris and you want to go to Paris so bad and you have done all your research and you've packed for Paris and you get off the plane and you're in Holland And you're like, wow, Holland is like, it's beautiful, right? And it's different and it's exotic, but it's not Paris. So you're
Right.
continuously comparing it to, well, I wanted a trip to Paris and I don't have that. And it's just, it was really eye-opening for me because it made me think, you're right, like Holland and being a special needs parent is amazing and it's beautiful. Excuse me. And I wouldn't want it any other way, but you still sometimes want Paris and you're always going to compare it to that situation.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. You should definitely share the link to your blog in the comments. Is that, sorry, did
Oh,
you hear
sorry.
me?
You
Did you
cut out a
cut
little
out?
bit, Megan. What'd you say? No.
Okay. Is
Yeah,
that poem on your blog post?
it is.
Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So that's beautiful. I love that analogy. And yeah, it's so hard to
Thanks.
not to compare, even like, with our own lives as adults. I can't imagine, like, I did a little bit with Ellie even, and she's just like developmentally behind. I wouldn't really qualify it as a diagnosis of anything, but it's, her speech was super behind, and, having people say, oh, how old is she? And I'd say, oh, well, she's 3. Like, oh, well, she's not talking yet. And I'm like, okay, well, she does talk a
Yes.
few words, but, she's not saying 10-word sentences, sorry.
Yeah.
But,
Yes.
but yeah, that was frustrating for me. So like, I totally, not that I'm comparing the situations, but I'm just,
Oh, yeah.
saying, I know it's hard. So, okay. So do you feel the need to explain, why, like what's going on when people say or ask how old he is?
All the time. It's harder, I guess, for the strangers, like when you're in the grocery store and they'll say, oh, he's so cute, how old is he, and want to talk to him. And when I say 18 months, it's almost like you see the wheels turning of like, okay, because he's either in his stroller or sitting in the cart, but very much supported still and not really making eye contact with anybody. And so, yeah. And I had talked to my husband about this, and it's like, you're not going to just strike up with a stranger in the grocery store conversation like, well, actually he's 18 months, but the reason why he's not doing this and this is because, so you just like kind of ignore it, but then you still feel awkward because they're thinking it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. You still feel the obligation to say or defend him. Like, well, yeah, like I know, but this is why. Like, he has a legitimate reason. Like, back
Yes.
off, lady. Like, leave me alone.
Exactly. Or the worst is like, I get all the time is like, oh, he's sleeping. And I'm like, no, he can't see. So his eyes are closed majority of the time. And like, I hate to be that person, but I'm like, oh, well, he's blind. So
Actually, he's blind.
he's blind. So, or someone will come up and be like, oh, what a cute baby, wave in his face. And when he's not responsive, then I'm like, do I say something? Do I not say something? It's just an awkward situation, but it's hard to not feel like you need to explain yourself.
Right. Totally get that. Okay, so what has helped you stay positive through all of this?
I would have to say, first and foremost, my faith. I mean, I've been a Christian my entire life and been a churchgoer, but majority of it was just like I did my time on Sundays and that was it. But I've really built like a faith family, and the church that we currently go to, they were around right when we started going there right when I had Kai, and they just really embraced us. And so that alone has been really helpful to, I guess, continuously be positive and just know that I have that support. But other than that, it's just got to be what I continuously call my tribe, like my people, friends and family that literally, I mean, freaking Jennifer today, I was having a rough day today about this topic specifically and left the water park because of Kai having a meltdown, and she like shows up at my porch with wine and cookies and flowers.
That is so nice.
I know. And it's just like, I mean, it's a lot easier to stay positive through all this when you know that you literally have an army to back you and they're going to be there for you no matter what.
Yeah. And I think it, like, when I wanted to ask why you say, what you do to stay positive, not meaning, you have to stay positive all the time, because it is totally normal to have moments and days that are like rough and to be sad or to like question things. I think that's totally normal. So I feel like I wanted to make sure that we mentioned that, because you're not meaning, oh, my life is perfect, I never have issues, like, you know, like it's totally cool.
Exactly.
But it is, like, as long as I feel like at the end of the day, like, you're not sitting in the sadness, or you're not living in it and letting it take over your life, like that is
absolutely.
Is so, okay.
And my mom like says oh, so sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was saying, my mom says often, like, have your moment, wallow all you want, but then when that time's done, it's like, it's done, because that cannot be your constant state of life. Like, this is now our new normal, so you just have to learn to live in that, because if not, you just be like sucked in that black hole, and nobody wants to live like that, you know?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so somebody commented, Sarah Lines, I don't know if you're taking questions, but if you are, I wanted to know, Amber, how you are so fresh. That's how I would describe you. I mean, every day is hard, but you are so positive and such a fresh breath of air when you are hurtling so much with Kai. So I feel like we kind of answered that. So I don't know when that comment came through, but if you want to add anything to that, go for it.
Well, I appreciate that, because when I think of fresh, I think like done to the nines, and like I don't shower for like 4 days in a row.
You always look showered, so you're really good at faking it.
Thank you. Check.
Right?
But I appreciate that, Sarah. I do think that my friends joke that I'm a closet crier. So
oh my gosh.
I'm that person that like I'm really good at just like putting on that face, and then when I get home I like break down to my husband or call my mom and have my moment, but then other than that, like no one else is gonna see it.
Right.
I think that's like a defense mechanism, you know.
Right. Totally. I think a lot of people are like that, so I think a lot of people can relate. But like talking about it like today and being vulnerable about it is important too, what you're doing. So like I feel like you have a good balance. You're not like trying to fake any sort of like mentality or lifestyle or whatever. But okay, so Jen says Lewis wants me to tell you, hi baby Kai, I miss you.
Oh, Lewis loves Kai. I love that relationship.
Right? That's
I'll
so
tell
cute.
him, but he's currently in bed. I'll tell him tomorrow, Lewis.
Right? Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap up. Those were all the questions we had. I do want you to go ahead and plug like well, first of all, if you have any questions for Amber, please reach out to her, send her a message, friend request her.
Yes.
I'm sure that she would love to talk about it. She's a huge advocate for Kai and for hydrocephalus. Did I say it right? Foundation? Okay,
yes.
Perfect. So I want her to talk about real quick before we get off of here, the hydrocephalus walk that you're doing for Kai's Crusaders team, and then we can go ahead and finish.
All right, awesome. So we have Kai's Crusaders. The walk is happening at the Scioto Audubon Park on October 6th here in Columbus. It's a Sunday morning. I believe the walk starts around 8:30. I can also share the link for the walk here too as well. The walk is free, so we want as many people there as possible. If you sign up for the walk, you will get a free Kai's Crusaders t-shirt so that we can all match. They're all donated. So we would love to have you join us if you feel compelled to donate to Kai's Crusaders. Anything that is fundraised for the walk just goes straight to the Hydrocephalus Association, where they're searching for a cure for hydrocephalus. The shunt that I mentioned that he has earlier is a device that a lot of people with hydrocephalus have, and it's not a cure. It's a temporary fix. And unfortunately, a lot of times shunts fail, which leads to several brain surgeries throughout life. So that's kind of the basis around what they're trying to do.
Right.
So join us.
Yes, awesome. Okay, so thanks so much for sharing and joining me
Absolutely.
tonight.
Yes.
And thanks everyone for watching. And like I said, reach out to Amber if you have any questions at all. She would love to have you on her team. supporting
please.
Kai. And yeah, thanks so much. I hope everyone has a good night. Thanks, Amber.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay,
Bye, guys.
bye.